into News 2 at 4. I'm Erica Francis.
And I'm Bob Mueller. Tennessee Athletic Director Phil Fulmer is set to join Governor Bill Lee for an update on the upcoming football season, and we'll bring that to you live.
But first, 53 students at an elementary school are quarantined after possible exposure to COVID-19. News 2's Haley Wilgus is at the WKRN.com alert desk. And Haley, this could be linked to a bus route.
That's what we're hearing, Erica. According to the district, the students under quarantine are all Smyrna Elementary students who either live in the same neighborhood or they share a bus route. In total, 53 students and 8 teachers are under precautionary quarantine. The district says they're either showing potential COVID-19 symptoms or have had close contact with someone who has symptoms of COVID-19. Because of this high number, Smyrna Elementary will now transition to distance learning through September 1st. Now, this is the second school out of the 49 in the district that are temporarily on what's called distance learning. And of course, this is due to possible COVID-19 exposure. Christiana Middle School is under quarantine through Friday. Erica.
Haley, thank you. And a reminder that News 2 brings you breaking news around the clock.
Spectators will not be allowed at Nissan Stadium through at least September. News 2's Stephanie Langston has been speaking with fans. She joins us live from Nissan Stadium. Steph?
Well, Bob, it's hard to imagine an empty stadium on game day, but come the home opener in September, this is what it will look like. Of course, fans say it's not going to stop them from rooting on our home team. There are fans, and then there are super fans.
Tight them up all day, every day.
This super fan goes by Chili Pepper.
Yeah, I live in Chihuahua, Mexico, and I go to every game. Yeah, every Titans game for the last, 20 years. I go home games, away games. I go 14 games a year.
He's earned his spot in the Tennessee Titans Hall of Fans, following the Titans wherever they may go, all the way from Mexico, and often with his 4-year-old Little Pepper in hand.
Right now, I got my 16 games, fully booked, hotel and flights and everything.
But with spectators not allowed at Nissan Stadium through at least September, Chili Pepper's looking at refunds and hopes the move is just temporary.
Oh, yeah, it broke my heart. Going to Titans games is a big part of my life. Yeah, it's my hobby, it's my passion, it's what I do, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's I'm thankful that at least we're going to have a season, right? Yeah, so... yeah, but it hurts. It hurts. Football should be played with fans.
But it's not just Titans fans that won't be inside the stadium. The announcement also impacting 3 Nashville SC games for now. Scott Ramsey, president of the Nashville Sports Council, says they're making contingency plans for every event and are ready to get the ball rolling.
I think everybody's getting pretty worn out running the hypothetical models, and we're getting ready to kind of roll into it and see how we can learn from each other and make sure that we put on great events, market Nashville well, fill it up, but also do it safely.
As president of the Music City Bowl, Ramsey says plans are changing weekly for the bowl game that's scheduled for late December, saying it's too early to know if fans will be allowed to attend.
Right now, we're certainly on the pause button, and I think we're all ready to get started with it. And, hopefully, the Titans will just have to manage this for a game or two, and we can start kind of adding some fans back into some stadiums and get on the road to recovery.
So when might we see fans? Well, leaders say they are evaluating that on a week-by-week basis. As for the Titans, Chili Pepper says he's looking at attending and hosting watch parties instead. Reporting live from the stadium, Stephanie Langston, News 2.
Steph, thank you so much for that update. Okay, meantime, several other NFL teams have already announced fans will not be in the stands. The Patriots, Falcons, Washington, Bears, Packers, Saints, Giants, Texans, and Steelers say they will also be starting the season without fans. At last check, the Panthers were planning on playing with a reduced capacity. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones also says he hopes to play with fans in the stands. Bob.
Nashville Mayor Cooper says fans at games in Nashville is tougher than fans at games in most other cities because our infection numbers are improving but still behind other large cities. Tennessee as a whole is still listed as a high-risk state, and travelers from certain parts of the country have to quarantine after coming here. But the mayor is still holding on to some optimism with the city's improving numbers.
You cannot assume progress. It must be earned. You have to deal with the reality of what the score is. Nashvillians to step up, to make the play, and to do what's right, and reclaim the health and well-being of our community.
The mayor says it's impossible to predict where the pandemic metric for the city could be later this fall, but following the protocols like wearing a mask is the best way to slow the spread of the virus. Now, some breaking news to tell you about from the State House. Football will be played at the University of Tennessee this fall, and students are already back on campus, and numerous cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed.
Bob, school officials like Athletic Director Philip Fulmer are with Governor Bill Lee to address the campus situation this fall. We're going to check in with them now.
Tennessee. I know Athletic Director Philip Fulmer had conversations with Commissioner Ezell about Bristol, and we want to learn more about the best practices from that experience. We understand it was really good. We appreciate the collaboration and your administration's partnership in sharing the best practices aimed at protecting health and safety for anyone who may enter our stadium. We've said from the beginning that of this health crisis, our primary responsibility at the university is to ensure the health and safety and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff. And within the context of athletics, our focus first and foremost is the health and well-being of our student athletes. At UT, we have strong leadership in the athletic department, and you're going to get to hear from him in just a minute. And we're so fortunate to have in the SEC the really capable leadership of our commissioner, Greg Sankey. He has stressed from the beginning the importance of having a well-developed plan, going slow, being deliberative, learning as we go, and that's what we've done, and it served the conference well, and we're trying to do the same thing at University of Tennessee. So together with the SEC, we have created a responsible plan and have followed that every step of the way, continuing to adapt and add protocols for our athletes as we learn more. Our players understand they have a personal responsibility to follow all of the protocols established by our medical staff around COVID-19, and I'm so proud of the way they're actually leading the campus, wearing their masks, social distancing, following health and safety protocols that have been given to them. And I want to just share with you a little bit how the SEC makes its decisions. The decisions about whether we play, how we play, the policies and the procedures are made by a group of presidents and chancellors, and I serve on that group. As chancellor, I represent Tennessee. We meet at least once a week, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a week. We're guided by the input of the commissioner, and we're guided by the athletic directors and the coaches. We have an amazing SEC medical task force made up of epidemiologists, infectious disease specialists, team doctors, sports medicine experts from each of our universities. They've been meeting regularly 2-3 times a week and helping us and specifying protocols. We seek their advice and we follow their advice. So we've worked with the SEC to be deliberate, and so at Tennessee we have slowed the return of student athletes to practice. Our players have been on campus for more than two months and have had limited access. They haven't even been using in football. We started practice yesterday. So that's how slow and careful we've been. The conference delayed the opening of the season. I think everyone knows that, till September 26th in respect to the start of the fall semester. Again, the words of the commissioner, go slow, be deliberate. The conference changed, as I know you all know, to a conference-only schedule to establish better consistency about testing and to feel really good about the same testing standards that we're all using. We developed and announced COVID-19 testing protocols and other health measures. At the University of Tennessee, we follow the medical staff advice and especially the advice of the SEC with the medical task force. The COVID testing program requires that our players be tested a minimum of once a week during practice, and once we start playing games, 3 times a week. Any players who need to isolate will undergo a thorough cardiac evaluation prior to returning to activity. We understand that concerns remain about COVID-19, and the leadership in the athletic department are very transparent. They're communicating with the players and their parents constantly about these challenges. We have been intentional in talking with our players at both the university and conference levels. I've met with the football team a couple of times myself, listening to them. What are their concerns? What are their questions? And trying to answer them. Players who choose to opt out from playing during COVID-19 and due to this will retain their scholarships and remain in good standing with the team. We said from the outset that the circumstances around this virus would guide our decision making, and that's been the case we've taken at every step. Our players, our coaches are working very hard. We are preparing to play, and we remain hopeful that we will get to do so. We will listen to that medical task advisory group, and as the commissioner has said himself, if they tell us it's not safe, we won't go forward. And that's been the philosophy of the SEC from the beginning. We understand that game day will likely be very different, and when Coach Fulmer comes to the podium, I know he wants to talk about that. So thank you very much for inviting me. That's a brief update on what's happening with football.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Yeah.
Coach White.
Thank you for the tremendous work that you've done leading us and the state through this challenge of COVID-19. I told some people this morning I've loved being the athletic director for the first 2.5 years. I have not loved the last 4 or 5 months at all. It's been a challenge, but thank goodness for the leadership of Donnie Plowman as our chancellor, and she told you most of what I'll repeat some of it probably. The leadership of our governor and our medical staff force that has been right there by our side and leading the way. As Chancellor Plowman said, the Southeastern Conference has taken a very deliberate approach to gather data and to make decisions as they learn more about this virus and how it affects our young people. The health and the safety is paramount to our charge to take care of our young people. Obviously, attendance this fall is one of the discussions that constantly come up. We're grateful for our good friends at Bristol and the efforts that they made to, again, pave the way to some degree for what we're getting ready to do. But obviously, whatever happens, it's clear that the capacity in Neyland Stadium will be reduced if we get to start on time or if it's a later date in the fall or next spring because of social distancing. We're anticipating somewhere around the 25% mark, and we hope to be able to achieve that. Obviously, we need our community and our students and our players. I think our players in all sports have led the way, and our coaches have led the way. We need everybody to continue to wear a mask and be responsible. The SEC and our local health departments and our state health departments have established outstanding guidelines for us to follow. Obviously, facial coverings will be required at the games, health screening for our employees, our vendors, our contractors along the way. We've gone to mobile ticketing, which means that we will not be handling the tickets back and forth from each other. Zone entries so that we can get people to their seats in a more convenient way, that we're not crossing paths with lots of people. Plexiglass at the concessions. Cleaning efforts. We actually have a stadium clean team established for the ball game. So we're looking forward to the start of the season. We're looking at different aspects that go along with Southeastern Conference football, like tailgating, certainly band protocols, and any way that we can, we need to avoid large gatherings. And so we're looking at those as we go along, and my take on it is we probably won't have those. Game day traditions like the Vol Walk and the Band March could very well be unsafe for everybody concerned. So again, we're kind of making the decision that we would probably not have those. One of the questions I know I'll get quickly is the financial impact. Obviously, with social distancing, the reduction of the capacity of who can come to the games, there's a $30 to $40 million loss that's there that we'll have to figure out as we go along. We've been very proactive in the cost-cutting measures since last spring, as we've made 20% cuts in our budgets all across the athletic department, a hiring freeze, and we know that there's more things coming as we deal with the academic side of campus and try to figure it out. Our medical staff has been tremendous. Dr. Chris Klink and Jason McVeigh have led the way with boots on the ground and have done a tremendous job. We've had 23 cases since May. A good portion of those came right after July the 4th. and unfortunately some people gathered too much. So that again made a statement to our athletes that we need to be fully committed to get football where it needs to be, to stay safe for each other and stay safe for our loved ones. But again, we're appreciative of the opportunity, and I think we'll be available afterwards if there are other questions. Thank you.